Hello, everyone. It's Graham Coath with another My Music. It's Thursday when I'm recording this, but that may not be the day that it goes out. So now you're confused, not as confused as my friend Scott here, who's sitting here thinking, what day of the week is it? But I know who does know. It's this man.
I need to get going, mate. I'll see you later.
Answers on a postcard for anyone that was watching that intently whilst it came on the screen. What was the time on his watch? I haven't a clue, by the way. So if you throw your answers at me, someone will have bothered to actually slow that down and watch that. But there you go. Scott, where are you coming from today, sir?
I am coming to you from the shores of Lake Erie in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, that just sounds romantic.
It is romantic. And during the night, over the mist, you can see the will-o-wisps, the specters, and the whites from past ages.
You know what? I love this already.
Very good.
It is. Okay. I'll kind of tell you where I'm coming from. I'm coming from Chard in Somerset, where they make cider. Well, they make it just down the road. You know what cider is, yeah?
I do, yes.
You have cider there.
Probably not as good as yours.
I was just going to say, whatever you have there, I can guarantee you it will be nothing like the cider that they sell down the road.
Right on.
Right. It's called Scrumpy around here. Okay. Basically, it has apple in it, and the apple turns to alcohol. And that's all you need to know.
All right.
And it's generally, it's not fizzy. It's not that kind of fizzy pop type stuff that some people bottle up and call cider. It's generally quite flat. And flat is where most people end up when they drink it.
After 6 of them, right?
6, you won't need that.
All right.
You would not need that. 6 of those. My goodness. You really would be something. So tell me, where did music start for you?
Oh boy. Well, fortunately, I started playing drums at 10.
10
and never stopped.
Good man.
So,
who encouraged that?
That would be my mother. So, cheers to quality parents. Very important.
What's your mum's name?
Her name was Diane.
Sorry. Yeah.
God rest her soul, but she was amazing. And yes, installed a very Midwest work ethic in me, along with my father. So when it comes to performing and practice and writing, I approach it, with a working class ethic. So.
Oh my word! Well, yeah. God bless Diane. That was brilliant. Well done for doing that. When did you get your first drum kit?
I think I got it when I was like 7, maybe 6. There's pictures of Christmas with a little drum set.
Yeah.
Distant memories.
Was it a mini kit?
It was a mini kit, yes.
I'm sure mini kit.
I put a drumstick through the drum heads within weeks. So yes.
Oh, those junior drums. Yeah. And did you very quickly from then progress up to a full size kit? What sort of age were you by the time you sort of played an adult size kit?
Yeah, it's probably within a year or 2. I think the key was getting lessons early on, getting that solid foundation of music and rhythm and timing. So yeah, I can remember being in studios with teachers at music schools and stores like that. So yeah, it was quite a journey. But yeah, that foundation's so important for you beginning musicians out there. Get the foundation.
Oh, it so is. And the thing it's a real commitment as well. For in all seriousness, it's a real commitment when a parent actually encourages drumming. Because listen, let's be honest about this. It's one thing when a child decides that they want to play guitar. Two reasons. One is that guitars, especially acoustic guitars, aren't that loud. They're not that loud. And especially actually if you're going to buy a child like a classical guitar or a nylon strum guitar, that's not that loud. And it's not that expensive either. But it's a different matter with drum kits, right?
Absolutely.
Because as soon as you get past that, that sort of real basic kit, that little mini kit, etc., and you start buying an adult drum kit, that starts getting a reasonably expensive, and B, that's noisy.
Absolutely. Yes. Get your earplugs. Get your earplugs ready.
Yeah. And that takes some tolerance, right? From other members of the family, whilst
Indeed.
one is learning one's rudiments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know your rudiments very well. Very impressive.
I know my rudiments. Yeah. I grew up with a drummer in the band when I was young. I grew up with a drummer called Troy Miller who went on to become one of the world's best drummers.
Nice.
And he was 10 when he was in our band to begin with. There you go. And it's all about, I think when it's at that age, it's all about encouragement. Do you agree?
Absolutely. There's got to be some inspiration to motivate you to practice an hour every day. And that's what it takes. So
it just takes it takes dedication, it takes practice, and it also it takes people sort of pushing you as well a little bit out of your comfort zone. I mean, I would say you wouldn't believe it when you see him now and he's doing stuff like playing main stage at Glastonbury, or drumming for the he drummed for the Queen, bless her, before she died.
Wow, yeah.
But when I first met Troy, and he was quite a shy little 10-year-old.
Okay.
Right. And so I think it takes something for, it was something inside him as well that had to come out as well to learn to be that drummer up on stage and perform, etc., perform in front of people, and we pushed him from time to time. I remember the first time we ever put him on a bandstand with us.
Okay.
And said, drum.
Go for it. Yeah.
And but of course the crowd absolutely loved him.
Yeah, look at him now, right?
Look at him now. What music were you listening to? What inspired you as a youngster?
So that's an interesting story, because as a child, all I thought was available was radio. So I was listening to like top 40 radio. Thought it was cool, but then when I discovered like Rush and Iron Maiden, that was like the floodgates opened up, and oh my gosh, you don't have to sing about love songs. You can sing about cool conceptual albums, and it really changed my outlook on music. And
those are, I mean, drummer wise, those are cool bands, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Neil Peart. Let's start there. What can't you learn from Neil Peart's drumming?
Right. Yeah, and on top of it, I think he was he wrote most of the lyrics and things like that. So what an addition to a band.
No, absolutely. And I mean, was it for you, like hearing those sort of bands, was it, feeling that the drummer could actually be more than just the backing, just the backing?
Yeah, I think definitely, for whatever reason, as a younger musician, I always assumed that it was like the singer was the leader of the band and the singer wrote everything, or the guitarist wrote the music and with the bass player, and the drummer was just there for the beat. But it's not always the case, so.
No, absolutely not. And the other thing as well, though, was that that again, there's two bands, two drummers, where at parts in the music, the drums really come first and foremost. They're really central to the construction of the song. Has that kind of influenced you over the years?
Well, it's certainly a solid drummer is quite an addition to a band. I think we've all heard bands where the drummer's kind of off, and if that again, that solid foundation isn't there to build off of, it makes it difficult. So a good drummer is always in demand. So yeah, there's a huge shortage of drummers here in Cleveland. A lot of the local bands rehash different drummers, so the same drummer will be in like 3 different projects, and yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know if I think the trend is guitar maybe a little more sexy, so there's always lots of guitarists and fewer drummers. At least that's the case here in Cleveland.
Okay, well, without naming names or shaming anybody or whatever, that actually leads me then to thinking of a next question, which is, if that's the case, there's a lack of drummers, you're a solid pair of hands, etc. Did that mean it took a little while for you to find the band that suited you or that you were really happy with? Did you have to go through some disasters before you got to before you found what you were happy with in terms of other players?
That's a great question, and I think you nailed it, because that's ultimately what brought me to create the band Dispel, because I had been in so many bands, and you put the time, the effort, the money, the practice 3 times a week, and then the singer quits, or the bass player goes to jail, or all cases I've been through. And it's just like, man, you put all this effort into something, and all it takes is one person to, bring it down. So I was like, with this project, it's going to be what I want to do. I'm going to try and maintain control of it, not to sound like a control freak, but to prevent those variables from getting in the way of progressing. So yeah, it's all those disappointments that I finally said, all right, I'm going to write the music. I'm going to organize it. It's going to be the subject. It's the music I most want to hear. So I really inserted a lot of fantasy elements into it, the imagery, the artwork, the lyrics, conceptual fantasy albums. And that's why I'm here. So yeah, it was all those disappointments that brought me here.
Okay, let's start with the artwork, because that is a great piece of artwork. The album's called Inferno. We've got George with his sword. Is it George?
It could be, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a knight anyway with a red cross on his back,
Sure.
on a white outfit, and he's heading towards a citadel. Let's call it that. Yeah.
Sure. The gates. He's going into the Inferno. The gates.
He's going into the Inferno. Yeah. Well, the Inferno's behind that. Yeah, but he's got to go. He's got to go through some gates first.
Sure.
Yeah. Why Inferno? Why this imagery?
So again, I grew up with the conceptual albums from Rush and Iron Maiden, and they left such an impression on me because, like I said, I was so sick of just love songs. So like Iron Maiden didn't rhyme with the Ancient Mariner. And I can remember being in 7th grade and being like, oh my gosh, what's rhyme with the Ancient Mariner? So then it took me down the rabbit hole of getting into literature and educated myself on, wow, cool lyrics. This is a cool story. So Dante's Inferno was on my bookshelf. And there was just one day it caught my attention. I'm like, man, that would make a great conceptual album. And that was it.
And of course, there's elements in there of scripture, and it's alluding to scripture, etc., as well. And there's, and that comes out in the names of the songs. You've got, the bog of gluttony, the flames of greed, the rings of violence. I mean, it's brilliant.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Dante was brilliant. So It was quite an undertaking, um, excuse me, to do it justice. So we spent a lot of work on it, took lyrics from the actual text. We incorporated some additional mystical beasts and characters to kind of spice it up a little bit for because we're big fantasy gamers, we're nerds, so
Yeah.
we sprinkled some of that in there. But
I love that. I'm
yeah,
spicing up Dante, which is already pretty spicy,
yeah,
really.
right.
Okay.
The
But
arrogance, yes.
but I'm just going to make it even spicier. No, that's brilliant. And in terms of who you've got working with you on this project, tell us who that is.
So our singer is Raven C. Um, and it's kind of a funny story, if I might digress about the story of meeting her. When I started this project, I just had the music, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get some studio musicians. I'll get a guitarist, a vocalist. We'll make it work. And I was actually at a drum circle. There's a local drum circle here on Sundays, and during the colder months, they do it inside of a church. So I'm at
Okay.
this church, and there was someone new at the drum circle, which was Raven C. I didn't know her at the time. And so after the drum circle, we started chatting, and I'm like, well, hey, I got this band, I'm looking for a vocalist if you know anybody. She's like, oh, I can sing. I'll help you out. So I'm like, all right. So I had her over to the studio, and we wrote the lyrics, and within a half hour we had the song tracked and done. And I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't happen this easily. Usually it takes hours and retakes, and I'm like, you're just brilliant. And she's like, oh, I have a vocal performance degree from Berklee School of Music. And I'm like, oh, you didn't tell me that. So
Oh,
now I
right.
understood.
Yeah.
So I didn't plan on having it as a band. It was going to be a project. But after working with her, I was like, she's a perfect fit. Let's see where this goes. So she's the mainstay. And then I've got another local musician called Sean Gallows. He does keyboards, he does bass, he does some vocals. Very talented musician. He does a side project of his own. And then I had a guitarist from Germany. His name is Leonard Kanami, and he's in a band called Maldoran. And they're all about swords and knights and chainmail. So they were a perfect fit for us. And then I had another local bassist named Jamie Baisden, who did some bass guitar for us. So, yeah, it's been just a wonderful experience working with musicians. It's just so cool because they're always interesting. And especially when you're working with a brilliant musician, it takes your level of performance that much higher because you want to be at their level. So
No, that's a great story. I mean, that's the same for any expert in any field, right?
sure.
Doesn't matter whether you're a musician or a tennis player or anything, right? You got to play above your station in a way. Yeah,
Sure.
you got to play with people that challenge you, because otherwise you're sitting in your comfort zone.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and you never go, oh, hang on a minute. This they're good. I've got to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
the amount of books that I read books by
Very
musicians.
good.
That's all I read, right? But the amount of books I've read, autobiographies by musicians, where they've had that moment where they've got, oh, wow, this person's good. I've
Sure.
got to up my game. If I'm going to be in this circle now, I've got to up my game. And these are people that are end up being world class, right? But there's that moment where you realise, yeah, this is the next level, and I've got to push on to that next level. So yeah, no, absolutely brilliant, and everything coming together as a project like this must have been really exciting for you.
Indeed. Yeah. I think you're onto something there. A, reading books is very important. And B, um, pushing, like living on your edge, pushing yourself a little farther than you're capable of. that's what inspires growth. And so that will make you a better musician, a better tennis player. Again, whatever you're doing, you've got to live on that edge and do a little more than you're capable of, because that's what promotes the growth. And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. So have you got another book in mind for another one of these? Have you started reading another book?
you know, I'm
You're
kind of
tempted.
tossed.
Come on, you're tempted.
Yeah, I'm kind of tossing the idea of doing the other half of Dante's book.
Right.
So we went into the Infernos. I'm tossing the idea around of doing the other half where he goes into paradise to heaven. Um, I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen, but I mean, we haven't released the album yet. It comes out in 2 weeks. Actually, we just dropped the music video for Flames of Greed right before this podcast.
Wow,
So,
there you go. Exclusive.
yeah, it was exclusive.
By the
So
time this comes out, it will have been out a week, but there we go.
that's great. Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, we're on YouTube, Dispel Music, and all our videos are there, and just a brand new music video where we actually take the night he goes into the Inferno to rescue his beloved from Fierna, the Queen of Greed, played by Ravensea. And yeah, it's just been a really cool journey, a lot of work, but again, the imagery is so important to us.
Yeah.
And I think we nailed it.
And musically, it goes high, it goes low. There's some really emotional bits. There's some real rock out bits in this. It's a roller coaster, right?
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. Especially when it comes to writing a song, it's not just verse, chorus, bridge, but yeah, you want this ups and low, you want the build up, you want to, I guess, capture a mood.
Yeah.
Capture that vibe in a song. I think that's what makes a great song. People more brilliant than me have said that, but I'll rip it off and use it for this. So, yeah.
Do you know, in a way, what it reminded me of in terms of, well, just because there's some parallels there as well. Do you remember, do you know a guy called Neil Morse?
I do not.
Okay. Yeah, do you know, I love educating everybody that comes on here. So there's a musician called Neil Morse. Go and check Neil Morse out after you've come on here. And he produced an album a few years back, which is about Pilgrim's Progress, the book Pilgrim's Progress, by John Bunyan.
Okay.
There you are. Very, very similar. He had people like Mike Pulteney on it, playing drums, Extreme Theatre, etc. And it was fantastic. It's very similar. It had those kind of ups and downs. It was very emotional. It had that, really captured the text really well. And that's what you've done. You've really captured the text really well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Speaking of great drummers, yeah, Dream Theater, fantastic drummer. Absolutely.
Yeah. There we go. So where can people go to listen to this music?
So I think the best spot for now is YouTube. This was our 4th official music video. We have 5. One was kind of I threw together quickly, but you can go there, YouTube, Dispel Music. And then there's a bunch of videos where I'm just in the studio chatting. There's some behind the scenes stuff of me working with Ravensea. So if you really want to get a good feel for that, you can go to our website, dispelmusic.com. All kinds of material there. There's videos and news articles, and I'll probably put this on there.
Cool. And now listen, I can see you've got a t-shirt, which is great.
That's right.
You've got a t-shirt. Have you got other t-shirts? Is this the t-shirt?
Plenty there's merch on our website. So different t-shirts, patches. We actually funded the album through a Kickstarter crowdfund campaign.
Did you?
Yeah. So
how did you find that?
I don't know, just researching,
No. I mean, how did you find the experience of doing
the
experience?
That process?
Yeah.
This whole this whole project, this whole band has been like a learning experience from every step of the way because the technology has changed so much since performing back in the 90s in bands. So yeah, I kind of learned what I did is I went on Kickstarter and I looked at other bands that had successfully funded their albums. And I said, okay, what did they do? Look at the graphics. Oh, I like how that's laid out. What are they offering? And then I think crowdfunding is really popular with games, like fantasy games and stuff. So then I looked, how do they do it? What? Because I've bought some games off Kickstarter.
Yep.
So yeah, so just I dove in head first, and all right, now I have to learn how to do graphics. Now I have to learn how to promote. Now I have to learn how to do PR, and it's just been whatever it takes. You have to do it. So
it's a good experience. My son had to do it not so long ago because they have to do it as part of their degree. When you're doing a film degree, they actually have to do a Kickstarter. They have to raise the money to make a film, to, you know, because it's real life these days. You know, you have to be able to do this. And as you say, you have to gain all of those skills along the way. You have to, you know, you have to do all the graphics yourself, the socials yourself, everything in order to get it all there. Congratulations on doing it all. Because it's hard work. It's real hard work to do it. And I'm glad you got there. People, do check out the album. It's called Inferno. Why wouldn't it be? It's absolutely. Check it out. It's available. The best place to get it is where? Website?
From our website. Yeah, you just click on albums, dispelmusic.com. Dispel.
Yeah. Dispelmusic.com. Go to dispelmusic.com. If you want to listen to this on Spotify or any of those platforms, or what you can do.
Yes.
But buy the t-shirt first. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I've said it a million times. I say it over and over and over again on this program. Don't just listen to it. Buy the t-shirt. Right, that way you can be proud that you've downloaded it. You can be proud that you listen to it on any of those free channels, because you have the t-shirt. All right, and
I appreciate that.
You've paid the musician. You've put your 2 pennies worth in. You know, and who doesn't love a band t-shirt, right? And this is a great band t-shirt as well.
And you'd be supporting independent music. So
that's so important. That's so important. Scott, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. Learning a little bit about this album, learning a little bit about you. Thanks for coming on. Glad we got over the technical difficulties at the beginning, which no one will even know about because we will have edited it all out. I'll see you all again soon for another My Music. This has been Graham Coath speaking to Scott Dispel. Go by.
A great honor, Graham. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Yep.
Bye for now.